What's up, everyone? This week on the pod, we got Daniel and Greg back, and we're going to talk about our favorite punk rock related movies. And this is a super fun pod. We got the gang back together. Quality suffers a little bit just because we are all calling in, even Greg. We live in the same city, but we're trying to social distance due to what's going on right now. You guys are all familiar with that. And then Daniel's up in Oakland, so that is that. But I think it's a fun pod. I hope you enjoy it. And all right. If you want to support the podcast, or I should say, please support the podcast by telling all your friends what's going on. If you enjoy it, please share it on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever you got going. But please spread the word. That is the number one most important thing. If you would like to go the extra mile, you can go to patreon.com/185 miles south, become a monthly contributor. These are the people that keep the show alive. Could not do it without them. I would be done by now if I was still losing money. And we are just about breaking even, so that is awesome. Thank you so much for your contributions to the Patrons. They are my personal heroes. Let's go on to the show.
"185 Miles South", a hardcore punk rock podcast.
What's up, everyone? This week we got them boys back together. Although we are responsibly social distancing, so we're all on the phone, so the quality is going to suffer a little bit, but that content is not going to suffer. So we got Dan Sant, Over My Dead Body fame, on the line from Oakland, California. What's up, Dan?
Yeah, what's going on? I'm definitely social distancing about 400 plus miles
North.
Yeah, you might have broken the record here as far as social distancing goes.
Yeah, and then
I'm a real American hero.
That's true. And then you know that voice. That's Greg from Take Offense on the line as well.
That's right.
That's right. That's right. Our connection to the youth. But yeah, so this week on the pod, we are going to talk our 5 favorite punk or hardcore related films. And this is Daniel's idea. So do you want to talk about it and go over the rules a little bit, Daniel?
Yeah, anything that was punk or hardcore adjacent or punk or hardcore themed, like, there are classic things throughout the history of punk that have shown, like obviously the Quincy episode, which is not a film, so it doesn't count. But the episode of Quincy that's about punks, or Chips that's about punks. Those are the kind of things that I like love in my heart. But then there, of course, you can go the route of like an amazing punk documentary, or you can go even a film that is not exactly punk themed, but it has like a rad punk element to it, like a punk scene in it, or if there was a punk character in an ensemble or something like that, that can also qualify for this.
You're saying Wrath of Khan qualifies?
No, Wrath of Khan, they don't. It's Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home that has the punk.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Getting Spock.
So does Triple X of Vin Diesel and Rammstein playing in the cool club? That count?
I mean, if that, because that is kind of punk adjacent. So yeah, that means Blade count. Any of those 8mm, any of those where there's an underground weird like fetish punk dungeon scene going on, I suppose they all count.
Yeah. Man, it was getting a little wonky there for a second. Did you hear that?
No.
Yeah. It sounded like you were breaking up a little bit.
Yeah. So stay in one place, Daniel. We are we're worried about the quality. So
okay.
Anyway, that's that. So we're gonna do 5. But first off, we are going to do the Hall of Fame. And
Cue the trumpet.
all right, the Hall of Fame for the punk movies. Do you have it up, Daniel, or do you want me to go?
Yeah, the three that we agreed on by just coming up with the topic were Another State of Mind,
Mm-hmm.
the legendary BYO documentary of the first Youth Brigade Social Distortion national tour. Then the other is the legendary NYHC documentary.
1995.
Yep, showing like the mid '90s NYHC scene. And then thirdly,
The first
oh gosh,
the first Decline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Decline 1.
Yeah, Decline of the Western Civilization, the first one. So let's go in order of year and talk about these. So Decline is first, I believe. And
Yeah.
what stands out on this movie for you?
For me, I think what I found fascinating about watching it the first time was seeing basically where Black Flag lived and practiced was just wild. Like of how much of a unit the band was from morning till nighttime. They lived together. They practiced almost every day. Yeah, pretty amazing.
Yeah, and it really captures a spotlight in time for them because Chavo, Ron Reyes, was not the singer for very long, but he's the singer on this video, and sonically he's my favorite singer. I love his voice the most. I like that he hits those notes. Like anyone that's known me for a long time knows how much I love his version of Depression, how he hits Depression got a hold on me. No one else hits that note. And yeah, so I love it. It's my favorite version of Black Flag, which would be the Jealous Again EP. And yeah, it's documented here. Also, I think a standout is the Fear footage is just wild.
That's incredible because it just shows you how fucking crazy this early first wave in Los Angeles is, which is what's kind of my favorite part of the Decline is it's just showing you this is the first stages of all of this, and no one's burnt out or jaded. So it's this genuine excitement and genuine. We don't know what this is, but we know that it's just raging. So for it to capture all of that, where none of these bands have fallen off, they haven't put out a bad record yet. They haven't done anything to it's just perfect jumping point in the fact that they captured it just to show you. And the Fear footage is just ridiculous. Just coming up, insulting the crowd, fighting it. I mean, shit that would not go down today for sure.
And the amount of homophobia Lee Ving is throwing at the crowd is wild.
Yeah, that aside, I just love the juxtaposition of Fear against a lot of it, because this movie, it drags in parts with some of the artsier stuff. I'm not really feeling Catholic Discipline and the Alice Bag Band as much. And then just to have Fear come out, it's this is a grown ass man band, in the that first wave. And it's just this is fucking insane. This guy just oozes confidence and charisma, and they're just a great rock and roll band.
Yeah, and he's got to be probably 30 then.
Right. Right.
So
it also shows too, how as far as musically goes, they were such because those guys were just weirdo LA musicians to begin with, so they already could play. and you can clearly tell when they're set, like how dialed in they are as well.
Yeah, they're just a force. They're a total force.
Yeah, definitely. And the way they go from song to song too is like hard, boom, straight into another, boom, straight into another, like, and the crowd's going nuts. It's a rad scene. Germs are also pretty rad on it, just in the how like the opposite of how Together Fear is, how like kind of sloppy the Germs are, but still like really cool to watch. Like Darby is you can't take your eyes off him performing,
No, it's wild.
And I love.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I love how the intro, it's just X, and the pit during X is so fucking violent. Like it's just like it's not even slamming dudes. They're just like just stalking each other, and it's fucking X playing. So you can just tell that like you can see the crowd just like, no, we want it crazier. Like we want it more aggressive. Like so back to my point of just how it's capturing such like interesting era where it's just starting, and you're seeing like what bands are like really bringing it, and just like what how the crowd's reacting to it. So it's just cool, great place and time.
Yeah, I'm sure there's an element of like, news stories coming over from the UK or from New York, and like, oh, we see, these crowds doing this, and then people ramp it up in their own like social circles, and it's just progressing and getting more and more, aggressive.
And what's like the bald kid that they interview? I think his name is like Eugene. He's just like, yeah, like, like fucking all that kind of stuff.
I mean, yeah, he kind of sums up like the lackadaisical, like nihilistic attitude, right? Of like that, some early punk. Like so, moving on to the second one, which is the opposite of like a nihilistic version of punk. This is one of the most important pieces of punk rock history ever to me, which is the Another State of Mind documentary. And I just remember buying this and just being like, oh my God, this is so fucking awesome. Like, these are like normal dudes that are like booking their tour. They're going around, they're playing hard every night. And they're doing real productive shit. They're like putting out their own records. They're booking their own tours. There's all sorts of rad footage on this documentary. And it's really like that, like the second wave that moves away from like the original, the first wave is labels are putting out music, and a lot of it is like major label. And then like when it dies down, like, people start doing it themselves. And that's like what I really connect with, is all those like early 80s labels that like, they're like, we're doing this ourselves. We're going to like put out our own records. We're going to book our own shit, and we're going to do this because no one's going to do it for us. I'm not going to sit around and wait for someone to do it for me. I'm going to do it. And that's like the full impetus of this. And it shows its power that like, if this came out in like 82, I believe, or that's like when it's filmed, and like it inspired like a 17-year-old me 15 years later. It's completely timeless. If you watch it now, you can get inspired by it now. So I just think it's timeless, important. And then, also the Minor Threat footage is ridiculous. Them basically like practicing in a closet, and completely love it.
Yeah, I wish there was a cut of the movie with no footage of Mike Ness, because when I watch it, as soon as Mike Ness comes on, I just fast forward it or skip the scene.
I think that's insane though, because
I don't care. It's like,
I know what he's become and everything is just so obnoxious. But when I last watched it, I was like, he is pretty damn talented. Like the way he's writing the songs, he's coming up with the melody that is different from the riff. Like,
no, thank you.
How dare you? How dare you besmirch the Bruce Springsteen of Huntington Beach?
I'll die on this hill. I'll fucking die on this hill. Fuck Social D, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I used to feel that way, but now I feel like it just adds another layer to the movie. That like those two bands are together. It shows that like, you know, the drive of U3A and the Stern Brothers, and then the drive of Mike Ness to put his art out there. Like they both just want to succeed, and the fact that like they come off completely different sonically, they're totally different, but they do have a goal. And the fact is, like, you know, we talk about like punk rock and hardcore unity, right? Like they're together for a common cause, even though like their ideas are different. So
well, what's amazing about it is John Stern like planning this whole thing out to be like, this is what we're going to do. There's no guideline to do this. Like, we are going to forge the plan. And you know, how many other bands now have like seen that? I mean, the movie is so unbelievably influential for the fact that it teaches kids to put up other kids, and it taught, you know, like scenes to contact each other and have bands go back and forth. You know, all of that stuff that, you know, if it hadn't been seen this way for everyone to grab a copy of the video and watch.
Yeah, come on into the manor. Come on into the manor. Have some chili.
Yep, exactly. Welcome to Calgary Manor. Grab a bowl and get their chili.
I mean, it's just educational. It's an educational film. Like, I mean, you even can learn how to slam in the movie.
Exactly.
You know, like it's at this point, it's an educational film.
Yeah, and
yeah,
so from
very
related,
entertaining though.
Yeah, and related to the pod, we've had Becca on, and Becca's in this movie. She's the girl they interview her, and she says she wants to be a clown when she grows up. And
yeah, that's awesome.
Fun fact, I hope that I'm not putting anyone on blast too hard, but she actually dated that dude that shows you how to mosh for like a long time, like kind of in recent years, like in the last like 10 years. So
oh shit,
yeah, it's like,
well, he's a catch,
dude. That guy rules. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, I met him at, you know, they do like punk rock bowling, the Vegas one, and then we had a smaller one in Oxnard called the Turkey Bowl or the Toilet Bowl, and I had met them both there, and they're both awesome people. So, and still around and into punk. It's fucking awesome.
Well, and another thing that the film shows that is amazing is no matter how good friends you are, when you leave on tour, if there's any little bit of difficulty, how quickly your best friend can kind of become your most annoying, worst nightmare. Especially when you choose to like ditch out on, or someone chooses to ditch out on their friends and go stay at the cushy place while the other part of the band is suffering on the floor and somewhere else. You know, it can become quite tense.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately for us, it was Fields of Fire going to the cushy place and In Control having to rough it out. But
so IC stayed unified.
Yeah, that's right. What's the longest tour you ever went on, Daniel?
Probably Europe for 6 weeks.
Well, that's a long time.
Yeah, it was like 5 weeks and 4 days or something.
Jeez, how about you, Greg?
Oh, it's got to be like a 2-monther, I think.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, like maybe even more, because we toured out and then did like a Trapped into Rice tour when they just did Big Kiss Goodnight, and then that was like a fucking month long in itself, and then we like toured back and then jumped on and did dates with like Madball. So that was, yeah, I think it was like over 2 months. It was fucking ridiculous.
Well, the good thing is the switch up, like launching to another band, and then it kind of rejuvenates you a little bit, right?
Yeah, it's like just another, or especially when it was our first year touring, so we were just absolutely, and you know, I'm sure you guys had the same, like, just go, fuck it. Oh, what do we need to do? Drive like 38 hours straight to beat the West Coast Tour Madball, fuck it, let's do it. Like you're just on go mode. You're out there. That's all you want to do. So definitely would never do that now. But when you're in that like go getting mentality, and you like
Yeah, I don't know. I think the only thing that would make me drive 38 hours right now is to go play with Madball.
Well, one time we left the tour and our first show was Hartford, Connecticut, from San Diego.
That was smart booking,
So-
dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I think now it's even way more common for a band because we've had to do it so many fucking times where it's like, oh, where's the tour start? Texas, all right, or same shit. You like before the well, I don't know if it's still going down. I won't announce it, but Geo supposed to tour like with some other bigger kind of like thrash bands, and it got pushed back to the year because of the whole COVID thing. But that just started in Quebec, so we would have had this drove. Obviously, we would have played like maybe one show in between. But what sucks is there's all these radius clauses, so it's like you can't play within a certain mile radius of like the venue that you're eventually going to play like a week later. So you're just kind of forced to just like drive straight and just meet up at the store in Canada. So we were like trying to plan that one out. Cause that
Yeah, it's brutal. I mean,
Have-
that's not fun.
like we
Have either of you had a thing where it's like in this movie where the roadies aren't built for the road? Like they've been like complaining and wanting to quit like immediately, like happens in this film.
no, thank God.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
we've had like two. I think we had two instances. I won't name them that were like definitely not cut out for it within like 3 or 4 days.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
We were always blessed. Like our roadies were all angels. So Aaron went the first year, and then we had Albert, and then we had Albert and Nick for like the third and fourth. So, and those guys were all like built for it. So it was awesome.
Yeah, we luckily had nothing but like amazing like roadies. Don never came on tour with us, so we didn't have someone complaining the whole time.
I was waiting for that.
And I don't think none of our bands got to tour in a school bus. So
True.
No, that would have been ill. Anyway, moving on to The Big Dog, 1995, the New York hardcore documentary. This thing is awesome.
Okay, what we need to do right now before we delve fully into this film, everyone say their one favorite quote from the film.
Well, I just want to know how long Greg has been playing guitar.
yo, actually, I'm looking
Help me
at
out.
it. I'm counting for people listening. I'm counting with my fingers. Yeah, like
Yo, help me out.
yeah, dude.
I got a weed spot over here. I got a weed spot over there.
I mean,
How-
Caesar might be the star of the multiple comments.
How boxed in by the weed spot is everybody right now?
Well, now that it's legal, I think you're just, if you live in a slightly gentrified neighborhood, you're really boxed in by the weed spot.
You're permanently boxed in now.
The one favorite quote of mine is, "I wanted to import and export venomous snakes." Like, it's the most random fucking shit that Loki is talking about the bass player of District 9. I mean, District 9 steals the show. There's so much great stuff on it, but District 9 steals the show.
Well, and they're the best equipped for like a documentary because they only had a 7-inch, and like all those songs rule. And so, how many songs can you get on a documentary? You know, it's like you get a few songs on, they're all fucking bangers. You know,
My personal favorite line is when Isaac is describing Rick to life, and he's just like, like, motherfucker looks like Casino Man. If he came home with my daughter, I'd fucking kill him.
It looks like he was in a bad fishing accident.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking. Or a Crown of Thorns, right? My mother's Jewish. She hates that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's ruling it too, but every single member of District 9 is gold. Like,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
the guitar player that's being interviewed with Mike, like when he's clowning him, Mike's story about his mom beating his ass for the Hail Satan jacket.
And they having a Motley Crue jacket. I can relate to that, Daniel.
And then
Or him with the him in his backpack, and he was washing it, and all the towels fell out.
yeah,
The Puerto Rican stealing shit.
Yeah, it's great, but like, there's lots of laughs, and those dudes, their personalities are just so big. But like at the end of the day, like the music just shines through. I mean, you have prime Madball of like when they're coming to their own sound, and it's documented, and that's like amazing.
That point too, where Vinny grabs Freddie, goes, "He's the new king. This is the new king of New York hardcore."
Yeah,
like
sick.
It's the crowning of Freddie.
Yeah, and then Crown of Thorns in their prime. District 9 like capturing them. 25 to Life in their prime. And then the bands I'm not as into, like you capturing VOD, who was like a total hardcore force, huge band, and capturing them in their prime, even though like not my thing. And then 108, important band. That shit's boring
And
as fuck.
They sound awesome on there too.
They do,
and then,
but that part of the documentary is so boring.
Well, yeah, you're like, come on, can Mike be interviewed with Vic right now?
Yeah. 10 years later, he's recording PC Death Squad. It's like that's what I would have rather had the documentary on his part.
And then there's No Redeeming Social Value playing live on the radio. And
that's awesome.
Everyone just getting wasted, and that dude, let the ladies through. Let the ladies through. I don't know why that sticks in my mind.
64, I can't drink anymore.
Yeah.
So what? Okay, what year did you guys first see this in?
Well, I've got a good story that Zach will like. Literally, when this film first went to VHS, Weinberg had a copy, and I think it was even before Oh My Dead Body, we were going up to Headline to see No Reply and Life's Halt, I think, at Headline. And we met up with Thorns. It's the first day I ever met Thorns. And he opens up his backpack, and he's just got it full of PlayStation games. He's like, "Yo, you want to buy some PlayStation games?" Within the first 10 seconds of meeting him, I'm like, "Who is this sketchy motherfucker?" So then we go to Weinberg's house to watch it, and we're just like dying. We're quoting it immediately after the quote. But during VOD, there's like some guy with Krishna beads on, and he has like a tiny little stomach rocker tattoo, and he's like moshing and diving. He's all over the footage. And Thorns is like, yo, that dude is dead. And we're like, oh shit, what happened to him? And Thorns is like, no, when I see him, that dude is dead.
Oh, that's great. That's funny because your story kind of ties into mine. I don't know when this came out, but I feel like I got it right when it came out, which would have been like 99 or the year 2000.
It was like 98, 99.
Yeah.
It was 98, 99.
Because we bought it at Headline Records. I think it was like $20-25, and like 3 or 4, it shows the times, like 3 or 4 of us like chipped in and bought it. And then we went and watched it at Micah's that night. And it was so funny because we had, In Control or someone, we must have gone to some show at Headline. So we go back to Micah's house, and there's like 10 people or something there. And we missed all the Loki scenes because when Loki came on the camera, he just looked so ridiculous. Like, not to hate, but like the whole room just like erupted. Like, oh shit, like who's this guy? And
then, when he first showed up, we were like, it's the leader from like what's the fucking guy with the comic book guy with the ring? Like it's like his villain
I have no idea.
because he's got that giant bulbous head.
Yeah.
The Green Lantern.
Okay.
It's the Green Lantern's like enemy.
But we were just cracking up, and it was funny because, like, I've watched the thing a million times now, and he's actually like one of the most like intelligent, like rad guys on the documentary. But every time,
Yeah.
like that first time we watched it, he came on, we're just like, "Ah." Didn't hear a fucking thing he said.
So how impactful was this? Like, did it make its way like throughout all your scenes? And then did you see anybody like start copying it immediately and start like trying to do or act like the dudes in the movie or dance like the dudes in the movie? Like, what
No.
kind of effect did it have in SoCal?
I don't think it had any, just because it came out so far
Comedic.
it came out after the fact, and then like, yeah, I mean, a lot of people, it's comedic to them, like they want to gag on it, but for me, it was like, these are my favorite bands that I get to like see them, because like, I mean, people, they still like kind of bust on me for liking some of the stuff I like, and District 9 is one of them. Like, I literally love that 7-inch, so.
See, if I'd heard the District 9 7-inch before I'd seen this documentary, I probably would have felt the same way. But to me, District 9 exists in my mind from this documentary, and they are comedic powerhouses.
But it just
like
it made me
remember
love
when
them.
we were talking about it.
It just made me love them more, like they're so funny. And then I don't know if you ever got like, this got re-released on DVD like 10
I
years
bought
after.
it on DVD as well.
Yeah, so like
Yeah.
I think in like 2010 or something, it came out on DVD, or no, it maybe in 05 or some shit, because it was like they did all these interviews like 10 years later, and there's
Yeah,
like,
they did like a like where are they now type situation.
yeah, and there's like good shit on that too, like Puerto Rican Mike, he's living in like Denver or like Colorado or something, and they're asking him like,
Yeah.
what do you have for breakfast? He's all 2 shots of Jaeger and a bump. It was so fucking funny. So I mean, like,
you know who's a hidden secret, like kind of interesting person on it, is the dude that was doing the record label that went on to make like a shitload of money doing Grand Theft Auto.
yeah, he did. He did the record label that Notre Dame and Social Value was on.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, he was smart. I think he's like a wrestling guy too.
Yeah, I guess like another thing I wanted to ask, because nowadays, especially with my generation and even more so with younger generations of like kids in the hardcore scene, watching footage of other bands in their own scenes is like so critical, to the point where like you'll see a band, for instance, like, our favorites in Tsunami, they have like that video of, them playing like a house show in their hometown, and the singer drops, the now infamous line, right?
Yeah,
Like, you're not from the Bay, you're a bitch. Well, then I watched like this band Hands of God, which is also the same scene. They played a fest in the Midwest called like LDB Fest, and they're playing, and the fucking singer, like right before the ass beating part comes on, he's just like, "Yo, there's 2 types of people in this world," and an entire fucking crowd
I
of
know.
kids in the Midwest say it.
I know.
To me, which blows my fucking mind, because like I started laughing because it's like, yo, you just all called yourself bitches for number 4. Like,
Yeah.
but what trips me out is like there's so much like, oh hey, like this video is so cool and we love this scene so much, we're going to like absolutely fucking like, almost act like we're from there, pretend that we're from there, and bring it back to like this documentary. Like when you guys saw it, I mean, how were you already kind of like just too involved in your own scene? Was shit too regional where you're just like like you would definitely want to watch a New York hardcore band if it came to your town. But were you like, no, I really want to like see like they like the veil was lifted and you got to like really see how their scene was like, or like was it like that much of like a deep dive for you guys? It was just like, oh, it's cool, like these are how these bands are. Or were you like, whoa, what the fuck are they like doing? Like, oh, they're doing this differently than us. Like that kind of like comparison. Did you guys do that with this documentary? Because younger kids do that nowadays. Seems like all the time.
Yeah, I don't know how much emulation there would be off this because, again, it's like how much of an impact does it have because how many people are actually like buying the VHS and how many people really saw it?
Yeah.
You're talking about like, you know, this is a good, if it came out in the year 99, you're talking about 7 years before like high speed internet. So,
Yeah.
and even then, like you're talking 10 years or something before like people are streaming it. So I don't know how many people actually like really saw it. And then how much the interest would be out here to like, you see that video in the store, it's $20. Do you buy it? You know, like, because I don't know if like Blockbuster had it. You know, I don't know if it's a thing you're renting. I think
Probably not.
it's something you're like paying for. And then like, you know, hardcore CDs and LPs and shit are like $10. Like shelling out $20-$25 for something is like kind of a big deal, you know? So I don't know if it really had any impact. Like I think you already had to be a fan to buy it, and that's how it would be for me. Is just like, this is awesome. I get to watch like Madball and 25 to Life and District 9 and Crown of Thorns live, you know, and
Yeah.
and it fucking delivered. It's like this video is everything I wanted it to be, and I still love it because I love all those bands still.
I would say around that time period you're talking about, if there was any kind of emulation, it was always the youth crew, like overtly youth crew bands, emulating like photographs of old, you know, core stuff, like looking at the way it is and like getting your jump just right like that, more so than it was copying this video.
Yeah,
And also Madball came through, so anyone who wanted to kind of act like Freddie on stage, like got to see him live to copy the moves, you know?
right. I mean, the first time Madball came out, I would have missed it. But the first time I saw him was '98.
That showcase show?
Well, no, it would have been on. They played Santa Barbara at a place right next to the living room called Sniffy's, and that was on the Look My Way tour. And I think I saw him then, and then I drove and I saw that same tour at. They played at Soma Side Stage. That was the Earth.
Yeah.
That was the Earth Crisis, Madball,
Yeah.
Blood for Blood, Scarhead.
It ruled. Hey, 1 second. Greg says his call just dropped, so we should probably
All right, let's call him back.
reinstitute.
Let's do that. And but yeah, so I don't know how much emulation. And then also
The one band that I
oh, Dano got cut off. Sorry, dudes. I'll merge the call in a second here. Stupid social distancing.
Yo.
All right, here I gotta merge him.
like
Hey,
AJ had
Daniel,
obviously
Daniel,
watched, you know.
Daniel, you
Yep.
got cut off when I called Greg.
Oh shit.
So
Okay.
you said the one band. Do you
Is
remember?
Greg back?
Was
Yeah, everyone's back.
yeah, was
Okay.
Madball rolled through, you could like see Freddie and all that shit.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and also the other thing is like, you know, if this thing got filmed in '94 and came out in '99 or 2000, like that's a lifetime in pre-internet hardcore.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and like Daniel's saying, especially when you kind of like you got to see it in between. You know, all the bands came out, and so we saw them. So, you know, and no one's really looking back, and the people that were looking back, like he was saying, that's like the youth crew stuff, and they're looking back like pre this New York hardcore stuff. You know?
Yeah, like a lot of the youth crew type people and type bands, and just kids going to shows, not necessarily having to be in bands, that they would do the, you know, like when you go or you look at like Japanese subculture and they pick an American subculture and they do it better than Americans. You know, they pick up every like aspect and make it look cooler. Like some of the Youth Crew kids would look back to the Youth Crew stuff and just curate an image like so perfect. Like my Letterman jacket is perfect. I've got the right sneakers. I peg my pants. You know, like they'll just be dialed in. Just
Yeah,
a worship thing. You know.
yeah, definitely. It's just for nowadays, the current generations are just so like observing other trends and other scenes, and then like copying them. So I was just like wondering if that was going on, or some example of that back then, because youth crew kids have always been doing that. But so interesting.
I wonder how much of like
Yeah.
the tsunami thing is like people inserting their own shit though. You know, like because we used to have to do that sometimes because a lot of my favorite bands were straight edge, and so we'd like change the lyrics and sing along. You know, so like maybe you watch Tsunami and you're like, oh, that's so sick when they're like, if you're not from the Bay, you're a bitch, and like they're from like small town USA, and they're like, if you're not from like Main Street, like if you're not from Emeryville,
Oklahoma City.
yeah, whatever. If you're not from like whatever, you're a bitch. Like because
But that's the thing. Like they're not gonna like. I feel like the rule is you just insert where you're from.
yeah,
But now they all said from the Bay. I don't know. I'm too fucking regional. So
yeah,
that just-
that's pretty
just makes
embarrassing. That's
yeah.
embarrassing.
It's like
You should yell where you're from.
but if I
Although-
was in that, if I was in Hands of God, I'd be fucking laughing at all.
Yeah,
Like, good lord.
Well, and Hands of God is the whole band is Tsunami, except they
Yeah.
have different singers.
hey, don't pull back the curtain too much, Daniel.
Okay.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
my bad.
playing.
Tsunami came literally from the Bay. They crawled out of the Bay.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they did the Alcatraz fucking the shark swim, right? They did that
Yeah.
Alcatraz swim and fucking beat up a couple great white sharks and crawled out and started a band.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, so that's the Hall of Fame. 40 minutes in. Jesus Christ, guys.
Yeah, but that needed to be talked about, didn't it?
No, true. We got to go through all that. So,
Yeah, I don't think we need to go in as longer tirades on our top 5 picks.
yeah, you don't want to do the deep dive on Cinema Beer Goggles?
Just because of Get Beer?
Because listen, no, that's on Cinema Beer Tay, dude.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah, hey, step off, fool. But yeah, let's get it started. So that's my first one. Are we doing an order or no?
Yeah, that's your number 5, right?
Well, I don't know. Greg, are you doing an order? Or are we going live free on this shit?
Oh, you know how I am. I'm the free dude.
All
He's
right.
a libertarian.
All right. Well,
Libertarian.
I'm going with my first one, or my number 5, or my number whatevs, is Cinema Beer Goggles. Came out, Hopeless Records, 1995. And this is like, if you get into punk rock in the early 90s, like when all that shit is breaking, it's like it's just under the surface, right? So there's a shit ton of people that are into Green Day, Offspring. Maybe they get into Rancid. Maybe they get into Bad Religion. Maybe they get into Pennywise. No Effects. And then like this is like just the shit right underneath it. It's like these other labels. And this comp, there's a lot of bands on here that I don't like that much. But like their songs on here are fucking awesome. Like Guttermouth, that band is fucking sorry. And and dude, I seen them recently. Like they played Dillinger 4 played LA like maybe a year or so ago. Like Hopeless did like a 20th year anniversary or 25 years or something. And Guttermouth
Probably
was
35.
they were like worse than like they'd ever been. Like the dude like literally fell off the stage. But it wasn't like cool like Darby Crash or some fucking, nihilistic
Or
shit.
like-
It was just like, oh,
Or
fucking.
Daniel at the scene.
Yeah. It's just drunk. It's like drunk uncle, and like getting
Yeah.
mad at the crowd for like not liking him. And it's like, well, you guys are terrible. Like if you don't take your,
Mr. Barbecue, Mr. Barbecue.
well, I don't know. It's just like take your craft seriously. And it reminded me of like why I fell in love with hardcore. Like coming out of some of this stuff is like I can't take the Like
Yeah.
that people aren't taking their craft seriously. You know, like if you look at it like
Yeah.
if you look at like a third rate youth crew band, like it's really lame, right? Like they curate like their style and like they're practicing jumping and like they all have a nice haircut and they look very clean, like they're always rolling themselves probably. No cat hair, no lint, nothing. But like at least there's like like the one thing I can take away from that is like at least there's a seriousness to the craft. Like they're trying to do something, and like some like Guttermouth is just like, oh, this is terrible. But anyway, they're the first song on this, and I think they have like a bonus track too. And yeah, the song "In on 9" is fucking sick. The riff is sick.
I thought you were gonna say it was Yakamoto or whatever that.
Nah, that's the next record, and it's terrible. But also Jughead's Revenge, the 4961, another like total standout song, like kind of talking about like not selling out, like this and that, like very of the time. And another band where I'm not super into it, but I love this song. You got No Use for Name doing the song Soulmate, and like with this this shitty music video where like people are snowboarding and stuff, like it's totally trying to be like of the time, like it's really bad. And it sucks because it's like this band that's actually like a standout band of those genres. Like this band is palatable to me to this day, like of like of this style. Like they're very serious. The lyrics are good. They sound fucking solid. And so it's kind of a bummer that they're doing like this silly like snowboard video. One of the best songs on here, 80 Fingers Louie, I've Won. Love it. Still love the Behind Bars record. One of my favorite bands of the 90s by far. No Effects is on here. Boll Weevils, again, another Chicago band like 80 Fingers Louie. I love this song Fence Sitter so much. And this video is like so thrown together. It's just weird footage of like street shit, which is like, it just gives you this really weird vibe. And back then when I was like 15, 16, I was smoking weed all the time. So like you just watch these videos and it's like you get these weird vibes. It's like, man, Chicago's like gritty and weird, and the guitar tone on this Boll Weevils record, which is called Heavyweight, is like one of my favorite guitar tones ever. It's just so burly. And this riff is insane. You also got Blink 182 on this, which is one of the only Blink songs I like, Eminem's. And then the other stuff that I really, really like is 10 Foot Pole and another band like No Use for a Name. I think it stands out. Their LP Rev is one of my favorite albums of the 90s. Again, like they just knock it out of the park with this record. Serious band. This video is a little silly, but kind of creative. Not as bad as the No Use for a Name. And my favorite too, they're back to back on here. I love the band Funeral Oration from the Netherlands so much. They're one of my,
I know you do.
I know they're one of my favorite bands from the 90s, and I love this fucking song and I love this video. I love this band so much. And it was sad. Like I was Googling it like a few years ago and I came across like the guitarist died, and then they were like, so they were trying to like figure out how the guitarist died, and they were like asking around, and they find out like the singer died. So like they're all fucking dead, and it's depressing.
Whoa.
Yeah, and so Funeral Oration, like they're a really interesting band. Like they're actually like of the the first wave of hardcore music out of like the Scandinavia era. Like they do a couple demos. They do a EP called Shadowland, then they do this LP in 1984 called Communion, which is like super fast hardcore but adding melody. It's fucking amazing. And then they transitioned in the 90s, and a lot of people don't like them. They were actually like the worst selling band on Hopeless. Like in the golden era of everyone selling like tens of thousands of records, I think they sold like 2,000 records. Like it's fucking terrible, but they got this weird sound that's kind of like, it's like a mix of, it's kind of like Bad Religion-y, I guess, if you took out a lot of the melody. But there is melody, but it's not as melodic, and there's lots of starts and stops, and then the singer kind of sounds like a lower fi Jello, Anyway, I absolutely
There's a touch of oi to it as well, right? Just a little bit.
Yeah. I just absolutely adore this band,
Because
Everything
they're
they ever
from Holland, right? Not
did. Yeah, they're from Holland.
yeah.
What did I
Okay.
say? What did I say?
No, you said Netherlands, but Netherlands.
Oh, then I said
isn't in
Scandinavia. I was trying to think of a Western Europe thing. Yeah, you're right. Coming
Holland
up,
has like very beer boy culture, so like oi stuff like seeps into a lot of the music, even the hardcore as well.
yeah, and then you got a Tilt Wheel song. Shout out San Diego, and shout
Yeah.
out Tilt Wheel. I booked them at a show at the Living Room in 1996, and they no showed. And I always gotta toss it out there. And I love this song though. Another sappy song about hate. It's like the singer. He's like this fat dude, and like he's drinking a 40, and then he throws up, and then he like goes to the trash can and like finds another 40 and gives it to a friend. It's just a really redeeming story.
Dave from Tilt Wheel.
That's right.
Yeah.
You got the Whitecaps on here, Daniel's favorite band. Unfortunately, it's not the song "Get Beer." It's a song called "American Dream." You got some late era Circle Jerks, and this song actually fucking rules. That song "I Want to Destroy You." It's so catchy, catchy. And then another band that I was never really that into, but I love this song, is No Fun at All, Beach Party. They sound like Pennywise with like a Euro dude singing. It's really weird, but awesome. And then it ends with the Vandals, I Have a Date. And the girl in this video is literally the hottest girl of all time. And
I remember that video.
yeah, you remember her, dude. She's literally the hottest girl of all time.
And it's they make Warren up all nerdy, right? Still on the date.
Yeah, he's got a date.
Yeah.
So that's Cinema Beer Goggles. This thing is fucking amazing. And there's a few more, like the Cinema Beer Tay before it, which was cool too. It had Schlong on it. That Schlong song was sick. And it had the Superior Whitecap song, Get Beer. But
with him on a motorcycle with a keg strapped to his back.
Yeah, that was sick. And then the one after it was Cinema Beer Nuts, and that one had Strife. It had the Blistered song on it.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And then it also had a great Millencolin song, but that was like about it. So
and the guy that was kind of behind a lot of these videos, Darren Doane.
Yeah,
remember he ended up doing that movie God Money with Rick Rodney as the star.
Yeah, Darren Doane, and yeah, he did that God Movie Money with Rick Rodney's like the star of it, and yeah, and it was weird. I went and saw it. I was at the premiere because I was interning at Hopeless at the time, and yeah, it was a weird movie to go see because Rick, he like grew his hair out for the movie, but he's like a bald dude, so he was like rocking the cul-de-sac,
Yeah,
and it was just like what is happening here?
And Fletcher from Pennywise was like one of the heavies.
Yeah,
literally and figuratively.
Yeah, and we should mention the Pennywise VHS. That would be an honorable mention. Did you ever see that, Daniel?
No.
Oh.
I mean, maybe. I've stricken it from my memory if I did.
Okay. There's just a scene where one of Fletcher's one of his friends like calls him to like see what's up, and Fletcher's like such a dick on the phone to him. It's like, hey, what are you doing? You want to go surf? Yeah. All right. What time you want to go? 2. Like, okay, see you later. Late. It's like, whoa, that guy's a dick. He was such a dick to his friend, and they put it on the VHS. It was fucking hilarious. Anyway,
I always thought Fletcher and Tank Abbott were almost the same person.
Yeah, Hermosa and Huntington, very close.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cinema Beer Goggles. That's one of mine. So
highly recommended by Zach.
Highly recommended by me. Yep.
Yeah, that entire grouping of bands, like other than like your more standout acts, like 88 Fingers Louie and like all those names, I have been seeing those band names like since I started listening to this whatever the ballpark of like punk and hardcore, and it's just a shit I have never gotten around listening to and never will listen to because I just associate it with such goofball shit that I'm just like, I can't do it.
Well, I think now you know how you should listen to it, and it's on the Cinema Beer Goggles VHS. So
you gave us a fucking great recap.
Yeah.
It probably hasn't. It probably hasn't been put on DVD. It's probably still only available on VHS.
Yeah, and it's like no one even put it on YouTube. Someone just like had to put together a playlist of the videos. So
And that was you, right? Like, it's your place.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
wish I was dedicated like that.
The YouTube handle is 185 miles south.
But
All right. So who's next?